Salve amici di Fumettomania e Comics Reporter, oggi abbiamo una nuova intervista con un grandissimo autore, artista, illustratore, il famosissimo Geof Darrow. Illustratore, disegnatore e storyboarder, ha lavorato per film come Matrix, per la trilogia di Matrix, per il film Speedracer, lo ricordiamo tantissimo per la novella grafica con Frank Miller Hardboiled, ha inventato il personaggio di Bourbon Treat, ha soprattutto anche creato la miniserie Big Guy and the Rusty the Boy Robot per la Legend DarkHorse. Hello Jeff, how are you?
Muy bueno.
Okay.
That's Spanish, actually. I'm trying to think of multi bueno.
Molto bene, molto bene,
Molto bene.
molto bene, esatto. Buongiorno. Allora, Jeff, cominciamo con la prima domanda. La prima domanda è: come stai trascorrendo questo periodo di quarantena?
The same as I was before the quarantine. I just go out in my office, which this isn't my office, it's my wife's office, but I go out there and I just draw. I start about 6 o'clock in the morning and I finished about 6:30 in the evening, and 7 days a week. That's all I do. So I go out and ride my bicycle, but other than that, nothing's changed, and staying away from people, which isn't too hard. Most comic artists, we've all talked about it, it's pretty much, our life doesn't change that much.
Sì, esattamente, è vero. Benissimo, Jeff. La seconda domanda riguarda i tuoi progetti presenti e futuri. Se ci puoi parlare appunto dei tuoi nuovi progetti e prossimi progetti, se non sono confidenziali.
Well, I spent most of last year working on conceptual artwork for Matrix 4. And now I'm back drawing another Shaolin Cowboy. It's the biggest one I've ever drawn. It's going to be about 180, 190 pages. And I've got about 160 some done. So soon. For me, it's a miracle.
Ok, benissimo, benissimo. Bella notizia. Quindi parlando, continuerai a lavorare per Matrix. Allora, un'altra domanda. Adesso cominciamo con le domande che ci pone il pubblico. Cominciamo con la domanda di Fabio Butera che ci chiede: Geoff, puoi parlarci del tuo rapporto con Moebius?
I spoke to his wife just yesterday. Do you want to know how it started, or just what it was like?
What it was like?
It originally was, we were supposed to do a comic strip together. He was going to write it and I was going to draw it. And it wasn't possible because of, it was based on a story that came from a group that he belonged to that was pretty crazy. And they had all these rules and regulations, and he eventually thought this is going to be too constricting for me. So they came up with an idea that I would draw 10 really large drawings, and then he would ink them and color them. And he just, made me look really, 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 really good. It's really beautiful. But he was always really, really, really sweet with me and gentle and considerate. I was always amazed that he wanted to work with me. He's a very, very nice, sweet man.
Un grande Moebius, un grande maestro. Allora, la seconda domanda ce la pone Gabriele Odorizzi e ci chiede: come è nato il progetto e il personaggio Shaolin Cowboy?
It came from a great love of Japanese films, of Kurosawa, and also a really great Japanese director, Kenji Masumi, who directed many. Zatoichi, the blind swordsman character, is a big inspiration. He's my favorite characters. And he also directed the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. And he influenced me a lot. And then Kung Fu films. I like a lot of movies of Choi Hark. And I really like Stephen Chow. He's fantastic. And I just wanted to, and it might not show, but I'm a big fan of Sergio Leone. And
Okay.
I wanted to do something that was kind of a spaghetti Western samurai kung fu thing. So it just lets me draw what I like to draw. And I thought it'd be interesting to draw a character that didn't look typically heroic or super heroic. He's not physically, he doesn't look like he could do anything. And that's what I like from the Japanese films. There are a lot of characters that look very unassuming and were very, great heroes, like Zatoichi, or the actor that played Lone Wolf, Temisaburo Bakayama. They don't look very threatening, but they were really fantastic athletes, actually.
Geoff, passiamo a un'altra domanda. Questa volta è una curiosità di noi lettori, appunto, di fumettomania e di Comics Reporter. Qual è il tuo rapporto con l'Italia e se conosci qualche artista di comics italiano?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Italian comics. The first Italian I ever heard of drawing comics was, I think his name is Alberto Gialetti. He worked in America and did a lot of television Western adaptations. A show called Gunsmoke and another one called Have Gun Will Travel. And then he started drawing a comic called Turok, Son of Stone. It was about Indians fighting dinosaurs. He did the Star Trek comics. He was a fantastic draftsman, and he could capture the likeness of the television stars almost better than anybody. And then in the 70s, the early 80s, I heard of this character called Tex. And there was a movie that came out with Giuliano Gemma.
Giuliano Gemma.
Tex and the Secret of the Abyss, and it was so crazy with the mummies and the rays and all that coming out of his eyes. And someone told me it was a comic book. And you could find them in France. They published them in small edition, well, the same size almost as in Italy, and called Rodeo. And I loved just the stories because it always seemed to me like they ran out of Western stories, and he would fight dinosaurs or the Mephisto, or I think it was Mephisto was the character from hell. And there'd always be something fantastic, not all the time, but every once in a while they did do some crazy story that Americans would never do. And then I started collecting those, and then I found Claudio Villa, and fantastic, and also, so many. I loved Ken Parker, Milazzo.
Ivo Milazzo, Ken Parker di Ivo Milazzo.
And then I like a comic called Magico Vento.
Oh, Magico Vento, bene.
And I can't remember the guy who did the covers. There were so many great artists. Corrado
Mastantuono?
Yeah. Yes. Wow. And there's so many. I mean, I used to talk to Americans. Americans they're not very closed-minded about things. They're not, if it isn't got Batman, or they're not that interested in. I would talk about, there's so many great draftsmen in Italy. The comics that Bonelli does, that they're little known now, but back then nobody knew who they were. And I'd show people these comics that were just, I still buy them. I bought a lot of the text just for the covers that Villa did. And I like the text gigante, those big. Yeah, I've got the Magnus. I like Magnus.
Oh, Magnus, il Maestro Magnus.
That giant, that text that he did. I have that giant book, and I went to Lucca just to buy Italian comics. Yeah. Okay. So I like them very much. And I know there's other guys I'm forgetting, but there's just so many really good artists. But my favorites, I like Tex, I like Magico Vento, and I like Zagor. Zagor's crazy. It's just,
yes.
Yeah.
Maybe future crossover Zagor with Flash.
Oh, with the Flash? You mean like the
Flash
superhero?
with Zagor? Incredible mix.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
okay. They've translated maybe 10 books of Zagor into English, because I couldn't read them. I could read them in French. Once again, those were published in France in a thing called Yuma. And I would, you can find them. There are comics you would find mostly in the train stations. You didn't see them in the stores. But that's where they publish the Marvel comics as well in a thing called Strange. But they're all the small, what we in English we call digest size. But because Zagor, aliens and robots and monsters, and it just made me, I think they're funny, crazy.
Yes, perfetto. Benissimo, allora continuiamo, ti rubiamo poco tempo, facciamo l'ultimissima domanda. C'è qualche possibilità di vedere in futuro di nuovo The Big Guy e Rusty the Boy Robot? C'è la possibilità di vedere di nuovo le loro avventure?
he's kind of showed up. If you look closely, he's sometimes in Shaolin Cowboy, but you really have to look to find him. But he's there. But I was gonna, I wanted to have probably people wouldn't be interested. I wanted to do a big guy and Shaolin Cowboy, and I also wanted to bring the character from Nixon back. I thought the three of them in one story would be kind of funny, very odd. Because I think they all exist in the same world. I never told Frank Miller that, but maybe, I stopped drawing. I never did any more big guys just because I got tired of drawing buildings and except that's all I'm drawing now are buildings, so I'm back drawing buildings. And he's hard to draw to me because I thought he was a very simple design, but I'd put all these concentric circles and all this decorative stuff on the armor. And I was like, Fortunately, they've made toys of it, and it makes it easier because I have models to draw from.
Perfetto.
So just out of curiosity, can I ask you a question? Why did you guys want to interview me? I'm just curious. I thought maybe you ran out of people to talk to. So
in Italia sei molto apprezzato per il tuo stile unico, Geoff, per i tuoi dettagli, per i tuoi riferimenti al Giappone, Godzilla, Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yes, you are a very loved artist in Italy because of your tail design. So they really appreciate a lot of your work.
Because I really love Italy. I love the people of Italy. Because you have such a great sense of humor. I'd often get to argue. I hate arguing with the French people, even though I live in France, because they take things so seriously. And Italy, the people just, even when they're arguing, it seems like they're having fun. And I love coming to Italy. I haven't been there in a while. I'd like to go to Lucca. I was at Lucca once, but I think I must have scared them. They never invited me back. That's a great show.
Lucca.
I like it more than San Diego. Makes me crazy. It's too big. It's more of a movie thing now. But
do you know the Lake of Como convention in Chernobyl?
I was going to go there. I was invited this year, and when the virus broke out, as soon as it broke out, I thought, I don't think it's going to happen.
Very nice
convention.
Maybe
I'm supposed to go next year if they have it. So.
Okay. Perfetto. Geoff, concludiamo questa nostra intervista, amici di Comics Reporter e Fumettomania. Vi ringraziamo per la vostra attenzione. Ringraziamo tantissimo Geof Darrow per essere stato con noi. Thank you, Geoff. Thank you so much. Stay care. Stay safe. Grazie mille. Grazie. Ciao.
Ciao. Grazie. Merci. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
Bye.
Thank you.